Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode. Ooh. Okay, I think this is perfect because I actually have a really kinky episode for spooky season, for you spooky bitches, okay? I'm a Libra Scorpio season. This is the episode for you. Welcome to the Novio podcast. I have a very special guest that I'm super excited to introduce in a little bit. But this is the Kinktober episode, which I think if you are one sex positive, a member of 2023, because if you're living in the Stone Age, this is not the episode for you. But also, I wanted to give y'all a couple updates. One, I'm not sure exactly what is going on, but Libra season is coming, okay? Libra season is coming. I turned 30 on October 13th, so this episode will be coming out when I'm already 30. I'm 30 in the future right now, so I'm super, super excited. I'm also excited that summer's over. I'm not anti-summer, I love summer, but I'm a fall baby. I'm ready to, watch a really good Netflix or rom-com or mystery movie or something, lay up with my boo, or friends, all of the above. So I'm ready for that. And since this is the Kinktober episode, I have a very special guest, which I have Jade here.
Hello.
Hi, Jade. I met Jade way back a year ago, actually. I used to work at a retail store, and she was a photographer. And that's where we, crossed paths. After that, fast forward, life happened. I moved in with a roommate of mine, and then that said roommate had a birthday party this year, and I saw Jade again. And then we finally connected on Instagram. Why did I not get your Instagram when I worked at the retail store?
Honestly, you being on that side and me being on this side, our worlds were so different.
Yes.
We were just kind of kept separate. You were upstairs, I was downstairs, I was just in the little dungeon. I called it the dungeon too.
Honestly, it was. We're no longer there. We have elevated and grown out of that situation.
Yes, goodbye with toxic people.
Yes, goodbye
Farewell.
with toxic people, and hello to Kinktober.
Hello, Kinktober.
So I have Jade on Instagram. She goes by Moods After Hours. And I want to, ask you some interesting questions because, one, you are creative, but you also are in the kink and financial dom space. Let us know a little bit about all of that. Educate us. Where are you from? All the good stuff.
Okay, well, yes, my name is Jade. I am in the sex space, formerly known as a sex worker. I am living in the space of OnlyFans, Sex Panther, Playboy, Slushy, all the platforms you can think of, I'm there.
That sounds like a great time, actually.
It's such a fun time. I love it.
How did you, one, enter that space? Because I know, sometimes they get introduced to you via friends, family. Sometimes Instagram be introducing it to you out of nowhere. So how did that come about?
Ooh, girl, I got a story for you.
Oh, I'm ready.
So, I'll just tell you a little bit of my background. Cliche, very Asian family. They're like, you need to do this, you need to do that. Basically, my value was only based on my success and how much money I made. And at the time, even though I was a working photographer and I thought I was successful in my own way, they didn't see it like that. And so after I left the company we used to work for, I was struggling financially a little bit because it was just completely out of nowhere. So I was like, okay, well, I'm scrambling to pay my bills right now. I need something. So I reached out to my dad for financial help just to pay rent so I wouldn't have to scramble to worry about oh my God, I don't have a roof over my head. And he was like, I don't think you've struggled enough. I don't think you've ever been under the line of fire and had your back up against the wall. You've had this life that's so easy, and I can't be there to support you and help you when you need help all the time. And, you're at this age where you need to be able to pick yourself up and just
This
survive.
was all happening over the phone?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
He said it and I was just trying so hard not to be in tears. He's like, you need to do whatever you can to survive. Whatever it is, whatever you need to do, just survive. And I'm like, bet.
Bet, yeah.
Bet.
All right.
So as soon as I ended that call, I was like, okay, what can I do right now? What are my options? Because one, I don't want to go back to an employer. I hated working for our old boss, so I was like, I don't want to do that again.
It's expensive to live in LA.
It is. But I really loved doing my photography, and I didn't want to stop that. So I kind of shifted it to, okay, well, let me just keep making money doing this, and I'll keep doing that, but what can I do to expand my sources of income? What are the things that I'm interested in? What are the things I'm good at? So initially, I started trying to be a sugar baby. Because the LA life is expensive, but I love that luxury life. So I wanted to be a sugar baby. And so I would look up all these websites and okay, made an application, made all these profiles. Nothing really came of it. I was
Do you mind sharing some of the applications? Because I've only heard about, what's it called, the super famous one? Madison.
I don't know about that one. But the ones that I'm aware of is Sugar Daddy Meets.
Yes.
Secret Benefits, and there's one more.
It'll come to you.
It'll come. But there's a whole bunch out there. And then, so while I was figuring that out, I was also still doing photography. And one day I had a shoot with one of my really, really good friends who's also a sex worker. She's on OnlyFans primarily, or she was. But basically, during our shoot, it was very kink inspired, very lingerie, very boudoir, titties out, super fun, girl power.
Yeah.
And I was talking to her about, can I, pick your brain a little bit about your experience on OnlyFans? How was it for you? Was it easy to how difficult was it to pick yourself off the ground and hit the ground running, basically?
Was she a woman of color too? Because I do want to point out, Jade is very cognizant of the fact that she is in the sex space, and the sex space is usually dominated by white women. So one, I'm Latina. I do want to ask you your ethnic background too.
I'm Filipino Chinese.
Filipino Chinese, you know what I mean? We're taking space. So was she also a woman of color?
No, so she was also a white woman. So her experience would have been vastly different from me, but I was more focused because at the same time, I wasn't ignorant of the fact that me being Asian could be such a really strong player card. I'm not ignorant of that fact. But I wanted to know if it would be possible for me to be successful on this platform because, we all heard the stories do OnlyFans, you can sell pictures and do this and this and this, and you can make a lot of money. And some people believe it's such an easy way, to make money, but it's really not. But you have to do it right in order to be successful. And so she answered all my questions. And the biggest takeaway I got from that conversation with her was that it's a spectrum. Sex work is a spectrum, and I didn't understand this until I entered the space. You can either show too little, you don't have to show a lot, and you can either show a lot.
Right.
And there's everything in between. And even though there are people out there who want to see everything, there's also people who don't really want to see anything, and they're fine with you just being in your lingerie and not showing your titties, not showing your booty or anything like that. There's everything for everyone.
That's the beauty of kink. Kink comes in all spectrums. You could be into the, the most vanilla type things or the most extreme, maybe not as ordinary. And it also, I believe, for women that are in the sex space or sex tech space, it brings empowerment too, because you're the one that is putting out the content. So when did you officially decide, okay, I had a conversation, I was able to pick the brain of this creator, I feel like I'm ready to start?
Right after that conversation, the wheels were turning, but my first official day after being accepted on a platform was March. So I started,
this year?
Yes. So I kicked off March, fresh on the platform. And I made the account, but I still don't know what to do.
Okay.
And so I kept asking around, just different people. But basically, the thing with OnlyFans and what I personally don't like about it and why I'm on so many other platforms is that there's no algorithm. So with OnlyFans, you're either found by people promoting you or you sharing your stuff on different platforms. But they're going to have to type in your name or a direct link. There's no way they're going to find you. They don't promote new content creators like other platforms do. So it's a lot harder. Yeah. And then on top of that, the issue with OnlyFans, and a lot of other creators can attest to this, is that they don't protect chargebacks.
What does that mean?
So basically, when you have a charge on your card, and then it's a pending payment, right? Yeah. And then say, for example, you go to a restaurant, you eat, and they charge you twice by accident. So you can report it to your bank and say, I didn't approve this charge. And so people will take their subscription, or they'll, I've had this happen numerous times where I will send a lot of content, and they'll be like 15, 20, like whatever the price is, and then it'll be pending. And with OnlyFans, you don't get, it doesn't, it's pending on your account for 7 days. And in that 7 days, they can do a chargeback, and so you'll never receive the money, but you basically just sent them free content.
Oh no!
They don't protect your money.
You need to protect these creators. What's going
know.
on?
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah. Okay, so you know, were on your platform in March. You started making content. Were you excited? Like, when did you start to be like, all right, this is kind of lucrative, or I'm, you know, gaining traction, I'm learning? When did that happen, that spark?
I think, because I'll be honest, my first month or two, I was still very vanilla, and it's because of my very conservative background, where I spent a good portion of my time trying to figure out just myself. Mm-hmm. And that was part of the beauty of the journey, is that I was also discovering my interests and pushing my own boundaries. But the day that it clicked for me that, like, this is really fun and I love this, has to be probably like April.
Oh, okay.
April.
So right away, like, it started.
It took some time, but I was really diligent with it, you know, like, but I don't know if a lot of other creators experience this, and it's kind of rare. I don't hear about it a lot, but I had a lot of subs who were very, very kind to me, and I think part of that was the way that I marketed myself. So a lot of my subs would be looking for connection, and so that kind of helped me ease more into the space where I was kind of talking to them about, you know, things that I was learning about myself, things that I was exploring, and they were more encouraging. Instead of like, oh my God, like, show me, like, spread your legs, show me your butthole, like this and this and this. Like, they're like, I know you're in this place right now, and I respect it and I understand it. Go at your own pace. Don't feel pressured by anyone else. You know, like, this is for you. This is your space. Like, have fun with it. And I was like, that's awesome.
I actually love that, you know, your journey in this platform and the sex tech space has been, you know, very nourishing and a space where you can flourish. I know you mentioned you come from a very, you know, conservative background. Since you moved out to LA, do you feel like you've been exploring more kinks? Maybe you've been into some things that you didn't even know you were into?
That's definitely come with the evolution of the job, for sure. I would say even just last year, like a year ago from today, like, I was a completely different person. And I think through the job, through different interactions that I've had with different clients and different people, I've learned what I like personally, but also the type of person I need to become to, because at the end of the day, I'm still a service provider, so I need to still be a certain type of person to cater to the needs of a client, but at the same time, I can still explore and learn what I like for myself and then implement that into my personal life.
Oh, definitely. I know you did mention, you know, Jade is your persona. Do you feel like you have a Beyonce moment when you turn into, like, Sasha Fierce?
Oh my God, absolutely, yes. Okay, so the real version of me, I would say, is like pretty true to, like, when I'm having those, like, very, like, not vanilla but more intimate conversations. That's truly 100% me talking. And then when it comes to, like, the very, like, kinky, fetishy, like, fun, that's like this persona, Jade. Like, she is like me on crack. Yeah. Like, on steroids. Like, from 0 to 100. It's like two split personalities, but essentially at the core it's the same person.
Right. And I love the fact that when you're able to showcase that, you know, online and hopefully in your real life too, because, you know, you could be both. It could be a happy medium.
Absolutely.
As a creator, what is one thing that you want to see in your content? Whether it be like photo shoots, videos, what are some things that you want to put out?
As of late, I wanted to put more of the darker side of my personality out there in my work.
Spooky season.
Very, like, perfect timing for spooky season.
Yes.
I actually have this one client that I talk to regularly, and he's always, like, we make jokes of, like, he loves calling me, like, a succubus, because, like, he sees, like, both, he sees both sides of me. Like, he sees the very, like, sweet and, like, fun and, like, curious side, and then he sees, like, the wild and, like, very, like, yes, give me that. Like,
give me I'm in charge.
Like, the very, like, dominating, like, you are mine, you're my property type of thing, you know. Like, so he's seen both sides. But he encourages me to because he also knows that I do photography. So he's like, you know, like do some photo shoots for yourself that reflect your personality. Oh, like what are things that you're inspired by? And like I'll just send him like my whole Pinterest board, and he's like, that is so you. That is so you. I can see you doing that, because he also knows that like I lift as well. So he's like, oh, maybe we should do like an altar photo shoot for like a muscle mommy, but like in a very like sexy way.
Strong.
Yeah.
Strong and fierce.
Yes. 1,000%.
Yeah.
So that's the fun of it. Just like, you know, like doing things where I have the space to be myself and be as creative as I want to be and have fun doing it.
I do want to ask you about your clients. Is it more skewed towards like men, or do you have a mixture of both?
It's mostly men. I've had a couple women. I've had a couple couples.
Oh, couples.
But for the most part, it's mostly men that I cater to and that reach out to me.
Nice. And then when it comes to money, because I do want to know, you know, this is your work, and you are going to get paid. Pay the creators online, everybody.
Yes, put that in bold.
Yes.
Underline it, italicize it, like put some emojis around it. Money.
How do you make sure the transactions go through? Have you ever had a moment where like you've had to maybe email them about, hey, your card got declined? Talk to us about the money part.
So I'm very, very picky about money, and I strongly emphasize to my clients that, you know, like my time is very valuable. You want me in your life, like you got to pay up. And I'm not going to do anything without payment first.
Right.
So my Cash App is always available. That's also why like I'm on platforms that don't allow chargebacks. So like my money is protected always.
Yeah.
So.
Perfect. She said, I'm going to make sure I cross my T's, dot my I's.
You going to pay my bills,
Yeah.
and that is that. You going to buy me things. You don't want to pay my bill right now? Here's my Amazon wish list. Here's my other wish list. Take your pick. Which one? Send me to a rave. Take me shopping. Buy me dinner. I want this. I want this. I want my Starbucks. Give it.
This is the year. Like, you are worth it, and they can do it. They can provide.
Yes. If they wanted to, they will.
Facts. And I will be providing all her information in the description of the video. So definitely, support. I do want to ask you because, this podcast, we talk about love, relationships, sex, everything in the spectrum, and then also mental health. So how do you keep yourself healthy mentally? I know being in this industry, there are days when maybe you don't feel the hottest or you might feel a little different. What do you do when you have those experiences?
I know those days because there have just been countless days where I didn't want to log on, or I didn't want to film this, I didn't want to do that. I just want to sit on the couch and I want to binge all day. But for me, I have to force myself. And it's not because I don't want to do it. It's because if I get down that hole and I don't force myself, it's never going to happen. Yeah. And I also have to remind myself that I'm missing out on opportunities. Do I want to relax and not do anything, or do I want to have the life that I know I deserve? Yeah. I have to work hard for the things that I want. And even I have my days off, but those are intentional. Yeah. If I just wake up and I'm like, I don't feel like, this person wants to do a video chat, I don't feel like it. Oh my God, they're so annoying. Yeah. I'm getting in the way of my own success. And so I have to constantly remind myself, I want this. I want to go on vacation. I need to work hard right now so I can be in Europe next spring. Right. No.
I commend you for that, because honestly, with anything that you do creatively, it's the consistency for me. Mm-hmm. I want to do this and get paid. Like this podcast, can I get a studio production, a network?
Let's get a sponsorship.
Yes. So consistency is key, and I could tell that you're super passionate about it. So I know you mentioned that you work out. Do you also include that in your mental health practice?
I do. So what's really awesome about including my fitness on this journey is that so I've been working out consistently, or I started bodybuilding around 2019, and then of course pandemic hit, so that kind of put a stunt on things. But this year was the year that pretty much everything changed for my mental, my emotional, my physical as well. Yeah. And what's really awesome is that part of the way that I market myself to potential clients is that I call it like I'm a muscle mommy.
Okay.
And so like
mommy.
part of the awesome thing is that a lot of my clients love like how much I work out. So it also incentivizes me to keep working
Going to
out.
the gym, yeah.
Because like, oh my God, I love your booty. Yes, send me more booty videos. Oh my God, can you flex for me? Like I had this one client. He used to just video chat me and like he would tell me like, oh, can you how big are your muscles? And I would just pull out a tape measure and I'd like flex and we just like check how many inches and then like, okay, well how wide are you? And so I'd get like a tape measure. I'd literally just be measuring myself and I'd be getting paid for this. I'm like, I can do this.
Yeah.
And like it just incentivizes me. And at the same time, because you're working out, you're also releasing those good chemicals in your brain. So you're just constantly bettering yourself, in turn, working harder, feeling motivated to put in more work. And then they see how much effort you're putting into it. And then they're like, oh my God, keep doing it, keep going. We love to see it. And then you want to work out more. So it's just this endless cycle of like support and encouragement and feeling good and just having fun with it.
Honestly, that's how it should be. Like, for example, like the podcast, like I want to have fun engaging with the guests. I want to learn more about you. I want to create with my friends. I want to be in a space where like I can feel myself. So I love that you have that one drive, because honestly it's hard to get up in the morning and get inspired.
Oh man, girl, if I didn't have to wake up for today, I would be asleep till like 4. Like I usually go to bed at like dawn.
Okay.
But that's more intentional.
Yeah.
Because of like the way that my clients are, like a lot of my clients on the East Coast or they're international. So the way that I set it up, and it works perfectly for me. When the East Coast is working, I'm sleeping. So I'm awake from when they're off work, when they're like, I need some stress relief from work, all the way into the late evening. So then that's the West Coast that is up late at night.
Yeah.
And then into the early morning, right before work for the East Coast, or like I have some people that are in Europe too. So it's just like that dead time of like people are at work, they're busy, I'm sleeping.
Oh, I love that.
And like, what's the point of being online if I can't make money at those hours anyways?
Right. No. Y'all, you need to tune into this episode, like, comment, and subscribe. I do want to ask you because I know I'm going to get asked regardless. How do you keep yourself safe? How do you keep that boundary? I definitely think boundaries are important. You are an independent contractor, so, you set the rules. So how do you balance the boundaries and the safety to make sure that, you're okay?
So I'm glad you asked this. So the first thing that I ever did when I first entered the space was I decided I'm not going to use my name. I know there's a lot of creators out there who are comfortable using their name, but at the time, I didn't want my family to find out, or I wasn't in that mental space where I was fine with people knowing about what I was doing. I still wanted it to be low-key, and I'm glad I made that decision because it allows me to separate personal and work.
Yeah.
And because I go by a stage name, it allows me to set my own rules, and then I kind of cover the breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And on top of that, so I go by a stage name, and then I don't use my address. And I know I have like an Amazon wish list where people send me packages, but I don't use my address.
Is it a P.O. box?
So it's my friend's address. So I get my packages sent to my really buff friend.
Oh, perfect.
So like, and I've had some clients joke like, oh, now I know where you live. I'm like, well, if you go there, you're going to encounter a really buff guy. So
right.
You're going to come looking for me. You're going to find someone else.
Yeah.
So I get my packages sent there. And, I mean, before I started doing this, I was comfortable with, like posting like, oh, where in LA I live and just like showing more a day in my life. But now I'm a little more selective and not showing like any, landmarks because I like taking my walks every day with my dog. And if someone were to just see where I am, like they would know like, okay, well, let's, pinpoint where, okay, this is like a 1 mile radius. So like, this is
smart.
her route.
People are smart.
Yeah. And like, there are people smarter than me, and if they want to find out, then they can. If they put in the work, it's possible for people to find out where you are, with technology nowadays. But at least I'm doing what I can to keep myself safe.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like safety with anything, like, is the top priority if you're in any field.
Absolutely.
HR, take your PTO, all of that. I do want to ask you before we go on to this fun little segment. One, what is your sign? I always ask everyone what their signs is. And then also, do you identify with your sign?
So I'm a Capricorn. And I think I mostly identify with everything that it says about Capricorns. I mean, I'll get those like horoscope and like zodiac posts on like Instagram, and like I'll look at it, I'm like, yeah, that's so me. I'm like, oh, that's so guilty. And like you see like some of the cute design, like, yeah, that's so me. Or like the ones, I know there's ones just like the good side of like this side, and then like the icks of this side. I'm like, yeah.
No, I feel that. What are some tips that you would, I guess, top 3 tips that you would give to a newcomer? Because I know you had the privilege of speaking to someone that was in the industry. You know, maybe someone doesn't have that privilege to know their local sex worker. So what are some tips that you would give to newcomers that are interested?
Definitely my number 1 tip would be to just look on Reddit. There's a lot of subreddits out there that are spaces for sex workers to communicate with each other, ask questions. There's a lot of forums out there and a lot of free information that you want to find. And if you're a newcomer, you don't necessarily have to ask people, but it's good to just see what other people are talking about. Because, for example, I wouldn't have known that OnlyFans doesn't protect their wages if I wasn't on that subreddit just looking through and, you know, typing in keywords and seeing other people saying like, oh, this is why I left this platform, or go here instead, they protect your wages, or if you're doing this, or here's some list of other subreddits to promote if you fit like these demographics. So there's a lot of resources out there to help newcomers, or if you have questions or you have doubts. And then secondly, for a newcomer, I think you should also consider, what are you comfortable with? And you don't have to push your boundaries right now. You know, there's no one's pressuring you to do more than you want to do. Yeah. So, for example, and I've told numerous friends this, but if you want to just start on OnlyFans, like, just take the pictures that you're already taking and post them on there. Make money on it. Like, if you're taking, like, post-workout selfies in the mirror and you're showing your booty, or, like, you know, you're, like, showing off your abs, like, why not? Make some money off of that.
Or I have a bunch on my phone.
Yeah, girl, like, you're in a bikini at the beach, like, make some money on that, because Instagram's not going to pay you for that. Like, why are you posting it on Instagram when you can get your dollars?
Right. Yes.
So you can always start there and then figure out what you want to do afterwards.
Okay, I do have this really fun segment. It's called Threads of the Week. I don't know if people still use Threads, but I'm going to use Threads. So it's from a creator named Who's John Doe on Instagram. And he said, an important skill that we all need to make progress in life. So he's sharing this skill. Learn how to take rejection over and over again without quitting or losing enthusiasm to try again. What has been something that you've found that, you know, I need to put a lot of work into it? It doesn't have to be in the sex tech space, but it could be if you want it to be.
That definitely applied to when I was first taking up photography as a career. So before I entered this space, I wanted to be a photographer professionally, and my dream at the time was to be published, you know, like shooting for Vogue, Cosmo, like all these really, really big, like high-end fashion brands and magazines. That was something that I really wanted for myself. And one way to look at it is that it's easy to make it in the space, but it's also not. And especially being in LA, a lot of your success is kind of like, a lot of people don't want to like talk about it this way and put so much emphasis on it, but it really is reliant on like who you know to like open the door for you. Yeah. And that was something that was hard for me to grasp at first. But at the same time, like, okay, if you look at it this way, like if it's someone who needs to bring you in, okay, they can hold the door open for you, but are you, like, you have to carry yourself the rest of the way, right? You know, like it's someone, like it also goes back to the debate on like Nepo babies, and I think the main takeaway from that is, you know, like someone can open the door for you, but can you keep going? Can you stay in the space? Because, for example, like let's just say Kendall Jenner, right? She had her family, she had like all of these opportunities because of like her family name, but if she didn't have a way to be good in some way or form at what she does, even if some people don't think she actually has the skill to model, I think that's debatable. Right. But in some way or form, she has the ability to stay in the space, and people will still pay her the wages that she wants for a reason. And so that's something that you have to work hard for. And the same with photography, you know, like you have to keep working hard. Like you can have someone help you and introduce you to the right people, but can you live up to the challenge? Can you meet the challenge? Can you meet your deadlines? Can you produce the quality of work that people are looking for?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Oh, I agree. I'm even learning that for me right now. But honestly, one of the things that I want to just give to people as a nugget that I've learned throughout this journey, because this podcast, the whole video, me having you here and other guests, like, it didn't happen if I didn't, one, connect with other people. I definitely believe content creation, you can only go so far by yourself, and if you want to scale, you have to connect with others. You have to. Whether it's production, whether it's photography, whether it's styling, anything, like, definitely connect with others. Thank you so much for coming through, but we first need to know, how can we have access to your content and all of the above?
So you can find me on Instagram, Moods After Hours. I'm on Twitter too, @RiceRaver. Miss Girly here will have all my socials linked in the description, bio, etc., etc. And then you can also find all my spicy links on my Instagram, link in bio.
Thank you, and don't forget to connect, like, comment, and subscribe to season 4 of the Novio podcast. Bye!